Welcome to the first City Council meeting in June. If you'll stand for the invocation by Louis Tonsmeyer and the Pledge of Allegiance by Taff Wren. Thank you.
Will you pray with me? We ask that the Creator of all life, who created all persons with the capacity to live in unity and peace, enlighten us with your wisdom, guide us with your spirit, that all who live among us may share in the bounty of a gracious land. Let this vision and its fulfillment begin in all of us and with those in position of public trust. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Catherine, do you mind calling the roll, please?
Gary Hodge, Ward 1. Jake Stepp, Ward 2.
Here.
Louis Tonsmeyer, Ward 3.
Here.
Lindsay McDaniel, Ward 4.
Here.
Diane Tate, Ward 5.
Here.
And Catherine, Ward 6.
Here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. First on the agenda tonight is approval of the City Council meetings from May the 19th. We've had these in advance, and I hope you've had a chance to look over them and have an opportunity to approve or not.
Make a motion to approve.
Thank
Second.
you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. We have the opportunity sometimes of proclamations to recognize groups in our town, and tonight, Blood Assurance Day. Mr. Tonsmeyer is going to read the proclamation, and do we have anyone here to receive the proclamation? Okay, Mr. Tonsmeyer, if you will.
I'll be glad to read it. Whereas life-saving donation of blood, marrow, organs, and tissue saves lives every day. And whereas the need for life-saving donation is an ongoing and sometimes unmet. Whereas Blood Assurance is a provider of life-saving blood and blood products in Cartersville, Georgia. Whereas the World Health Organization has declared June 14th of every year as World Blood Donor Day, a day to honor those who give the gift of life. And whereas in conjunction with World Blood Day, Blood Assurance does desire to use this means to raise awareness to the continuing need for life-saving blood donations. And therefore, I, Matt Santini, Mayor of Cartersville, do hereby proclaim June 14th, 2016 as Blood Assurance Day in our community.
Thank you, Mr. Tonsmeyer. And just a reminder for everyone to give blood when they can. There's blood drives all over town. Thank you. Tonight we also have a number of appointments from the Planning Commission. Mr. Menino, will you be handling all of those? Planning Commission, Board of Zoning Appeals, and the Alcohol Control Board.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
The first one on your agenda would be Planning Commission appointment. Our longtime chairman, Mr. Miller, has decided to retire from the Planning Commission. With that, he represented the Ward 3 appointment, and Mr. Tonsmeyer is recommending Lamar Pinson to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Miller. Your approval of this appointment is recommended. Would you like me to go through all of them, or?
Let's do them one at a time, please. Thank you. David, do you know how long Sonny Miller was on the Planning Commission?
I thought it was 27.
I believe my records go back 25 years that I have them on there. And I know I've been here for 13 years, and he's served as the chairman for all 13 of those years.
Well, we certainly appreciate his service to the city. And do we have a motion to accept this appointment?
Yes, motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And we look forward to working with Lamar Pinson. Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. Menino.
Yes, thank you again. The terms of 3 of our Board of Appeals members' terms are expiring. One, the mayor's appointment, Lamar Penley. Jay Stepp's appointment, Hans Lugens. And the Ward 6 appointment, Taff Wren's appointment, Ken Frazier. With that, Mr. Wren is going to be appointing John Clayton to replace Mr. Frazier, and the other two appointments, Lamar Penley and Hans Lugens, they said are definitely willing to continue to serve if reappointed. Your approval of Mr. Penley, Mr. Lugens, and Mr. Clayton is recommended.
Thank you. And again, a big thanks to Ken Frazier. He was a good member of the Board of Appeals. We appreciate him and look forward to working with John Clayton. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Thank you. Alcohol Control Board, Mr. Menino.
Yes, thank you again. The terms of all 5 of our Alcohol Control Board members will be expiring this month. They're staggered terms of 3 and 4 years, and every 12 years that time overlaps. And like I said, all 5 of them are expiring at one time. With that, those members are Rick Knapp, Robbie Stewart, Rick Koloff, Dan Hillman, and Christine Brown. They are all willing to continue to serve if reappointed, and your approval of these reappointments is recommended.
Thank you. Any discussion, council?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. In many cities, it's hard to get volunteers for these boards, and in this city, we do have people who have made application, and we really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Menino. Up next is the budget ordinance for 2016-2017. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and Council, we'll be looking at the budget for 2017 fiscal year. We go to the next slide. You'll notice on the screen the total fiscal year 2017 budget is $157,008,385. This is an increase of a little bit over $11.3 million, or 7.82%. Positives of the proposed budget: it reduces the electric rates slightly. There's a slight property tax increase. If you remember, last year we did increase the property tax by 1.1 mil. This was for the general obligation park bond debt. The actual millage rate for the city that will be used by the city hasn't been raised or adjusted since 2004. It promotes continuation of the 10-year capital plan. There's a slight increase in water and sewer rates. There's a decrease in transfer to the general fund from the water, gas, and electric funds, and we have incorporated the goals from your visiting session. A couple of items on this particular slide. You'll notice in the gas and the water, there's quite large increases. Those are both related to the capital expenditure side of those budgets. And in this slide, the budget comparison by type, you'll notice again that the capital increase has increased by nearly $16.1 million, again, dealing with the large increases in water and gas. Next slide shows very quickly the last 9 years of staffing levels. You'll see that we kind of topped out in 2009. We had a decrease in 2010, and we stayed kind of constant through 2014. We've increased over the last couple of years by 1, and in 2017, our total employee count will be 357 employees. Talk a little bit about the proposed increase in the additional property tax of 1 mil. Just briefly, this will increase an average property owner on a $100,000 valued house by about $40 a year, or this equates to about 11 cents a day. Just as another slide to reflect the Cartersville tax rates, if you'll look, the county is currently at 10.3 mils. City of Cartersville Schools is at 16.82 mils. Cartersville DDA is at 2.42 mils, and the city is at 2.48 mils. Again, 1.1 mil of that is going to the general obligation part debt. And the outside funding, we have an increase slightly there of about $25,000 over last year. This will be going to the economic development for the city-county project. my paper doesn't want to. All right, let's talk a little bit about the water and sewer rates. There's a 7.5% increase in the monthly base rate and the base tier rate. The increase is in the base tier rate is about 57 cents per month. The base, the base monthly rate is 57 cents per month. The base tier rate increases, it basically equates to about $3.38 per month for an average residential household, and this is based on 7,500 gallons consumed. Even though we're going to be increasing, we still predict that we will be we will remain one of the lowest rates in the surrounding area. The water and sewer capacity fees will be intact, continue to be intact at 100%. And again, this is the beginning of the 10-year capital plan, which includes the mandated nutrient removal modifications. To go one step further, this is a graph showing on the far left-hand side, that's our current city of Cartersville water and sewer rates. The next one over is our proposed rate, and then you've got the surrounding counties or surrounding municipalities, starting with Dalton Utilities. And just a side note, most of the municipalities will be going through or have already gone through the nutrient removal modifications that we will be forced to go to in the next couple of years. Next slide over, this is a residential electric rate, and you can see the comparison. In the red is the Georgia Power Company rates, and in the black is the City of Cartersville rates. Again, we are below our only, I guess you could say, competition, I'm sorry. And the gas rates, this is for calendar year 2015. You can see where the Cartersville gas system is $1.24 per therm. The next lowest to that would be the true natural gas at $1.55 per therm. Some of the goals that we've incorporated into the budget are permanent property, looking for and purchasing permanent property for fiber and gas and gasoline building, revitalization in the areas of community, develop a combined prioritized list of utility capital projects, develop a list of priority projects within the water system, and to decide which projects to keep in the 2014 spots and which not to keep. And in conclusion, once again, the budget has decreases in transfers, a proposed mill in property tax, reduces the electric rates, has a reasonably small increase in water and sewer rates, which are needed for improvements, and funds to get the Transco line for competitive future gas rates. That's my presentation for the evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Mr. Reinhardt. Any questions of Tom? Tom, I think if the mayor was here tonight, he would be saying exactly this, and that is, the presentation was excellent, but it was quick.
Yes.
And the process that went into that have been months and months. So
Several months, yes.
yes, a big thank you to you, Dan Porter, Sam Grove, department heads.
I was going to say, I couldn't have done it without the department folks who have a basic understanding of what's needed and what needs to be done in order to get everything back in balance.
And to council for the goals that we set that were incorporated into it. I mean, this has been a long process starting in January, so I want our citizens to know how diligent we've been in looking into every single piece and making this work. So
Thank you.
thank you. This is a first reading tonight, so if we don't have questions, we'll go on to the next agenda item, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Next is the amendment to the utilities ordinance, and Mr. Reinhardt, you also have that.
Yes, ma'am. Honorable Mayor, Pro Tem, and Council, this is an annual, it's not annual, but it's something we've been doing the last several years. The proposed fiscal year 2016-17 budget includes a couple of increases in the water and sewer fund, and this will help to address the maintenance and capital issues of the water fund. We've talked about them very briefly in my first presentation. I won't go over it in a great detail, but it does include a 7.5% increase in the basic water monthly rate and a 7.5% increase in the residential tier rates also.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Reinhardt? And I think this is again a first reading, isn't it? Yes.
Yes.
So, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Hotel motel ordinance amendment. Mr. Porter.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. A few months ago, we brought before you a resolution to approve to go to the state legislature to increase the hotel motel tax from 6% to 8%. The legislature did approve that. The governor signed that bill. Now bring for you the first reading, the ordinance to make that amendment. If the council so chooses to pass this at the second reading, it'll go in effect August 1st. We'll notify the hotel and motel chains in the area. But this list allows us to have additional funding for the CVB and the conference center, so I recommend approval at the second reading of this ordinance.
Any questions?
I would add that if you take a look at what is generally charged in the regions and areas around us, this is in line with that.
Very much so. Thank you, Dan. Again, this was a first reading, and so this will be taken up at the second meeting in June. Mr. Grove, Optimus for the July 4th
This is an
celebration.
annual contract that the city executes with the Optimist, and I think there's another third party that helps them run that. The city's commitment to the event is to supply 12 officers at mutually agreed upon hours, 2 firefighters on an ATV response unit from noon to the end of the event, coordination with EMS to have an ambulance on site, 1 fire truck from 8:30 to the end of the event, and to supply $4,000 for the cost of the fireworks. It seems to be working well, and I recommend approval of the agreement for your approval.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate the Optimists. They've been doing this for a number of years. People come from everywhere to watch our fireworks, and they put up the flags for us all the time. We appreciate them. Thank you. Mr. Riggs.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. We need to purchase 200 residential meters to replenish our stock, and we were recommending the low bidder Equipment Controls at $79 a meter for a total of $15,800.
Thank you. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, Storm Sewer Camera Inspection System and Software.
Thank you very much. Because we're MS4, we're required now to inspect 20% of our storm drain pipes per year. So over a 5-year period, we have to inspect them all. And we have to generate a list of deficiencies and from that inspection, and then address those with work orders. And so this camera is needed. There's a picture of it. It's needed to do that. It's a remote control camera that goes up in the storm drain pipes, and the operator can control, look around, zoom in, and find deficiencies that need to be corrected. We received 3 bids, and the best bid was the middle one. It wasn't the low bid, but it was from Environmental Products, and the bid was $73,783.05, and it was the lowest bid that met all the specifications, and we recommend approval.
Thank you. Mr. Sanders, any questions?
What was that acronym used? I don't know if I'm familiar with that. MS4?
Yeah, that's municipal. It's a M with 4 S's, so it's Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System.
Okay.
And that's the when we fell under that about
That EPA?
yes,
Yeah, okay.
we fell under that a couple of years ago, and basically if we don't comply with, it's an unfunded mandate. If we don't comply with all the things that they have us do, then Bob, when he goes to renew his permit to withdraw from Lake Altoona or
Water planning stuff.
put water back in the Etowah, they won't approve his permit if we're not doing what we're supposed to do.
Speaking of Bob, can you let him use this fancy camera if he needs to?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Good thought,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate that. Any questions of Mr. Sanders? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
The best bid
The best bid.
for environmental products.
Yes. Do you agree?
Sure, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
I didn't hear, I thought.
Thank you.
Thank you. He just changed it to say the best bid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what he did. Okay, Mr. Jones, handrail repairs at the water.
Good evening. Yes, we need to make some fairly extensive repairs to our safety handrails around the various basins of the plant. These things have over time been damaged physically during maintenance operations, but the larger problem is corrosion, hydrogen sulfide corrosion, especially in the primaries, has weakened the anchors for the handrails into the concrete, and that's where we're having most of the failure. We took bids to replace all the problematic areas, and the low bid came from Southern Machine and Fabrication, and their bid was $17,280, and would recommend your approval of that.
And Bob, this comes out of what account?
This will actually come out of a maintenance account.
Okay. So it wasn't a budgeted item?
It was not a
was it?
budgeted item, no.
Any other questions of Mr. Jones?
Motion to approve the low bid from Southern Machine.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next up, we have our much publicized number 2 high service pump building at the water plant. This is the building that has been for some time experiencing a structural failure. We have requested Wiedemann and Singleton, who has done engineering on our last 2 water treatment plant projects, to give us a proposal for stabilizing that building, and in addition, and also related to the stabilization, to replacing our number 1 high service pump. The number 1 high service pump is original equipment from 1973. And as part of stabilizing this building, we will have to take it offline for a period of as much as 6 months. And in doing so, if we don't replace the number 1 pump, we will only have 1 pump during that time. So there are 2 separate projects that will have 2 separate schedules, but they are interrelated. Their proposal for both of those projects through construction was in the amount of $271,425, and would recommend your approval of that proposal.
Any questions of Mr. Jones?
Now, the valve that we put in the 36 a couple weeks ago, that we notified everybody about to
Right.
conserve water, that went successfully, and that's part of this.
Yes, that's part of this. That was step 1, and we elected to move that schedule up just in case we did have any unforeseen earlier problems with this building. We can simply valve that off and
And the
be good.
pictures were pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
Were they the
Good.
original designers of that pump house?
No.
They were not? Okay.
The building that is having the structural failure was a Jacobs design from the early 90s, 92, I believe. Wiedemann and Singleton were the original designers of the plant, and actually the number 1 building that is hanging in there tough and doing us proud, they built that one.
I just want to make sure they weren't the original designers of
That's a valid question.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions?
Ma'am.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve this?
Make a motion to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Anderson comes up with a big smile on his face. New recreation buildings for Dillinger Park bid.
Yes, sir, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This bid was advertised, and it is for the replacement of our 5 buildings at Dillinger Park. The Lowson Associates that was the architects, and they did the design of these buildings. And we received three bids back, and I am the bid included 4 alternatives. One of the alternatives was standing seam metal roof for all the buildings. Another one was for a front porch on the administrative building, and another one was for porcelain tile in the foyer and lobby of the administrative building, and the final one was for epoxy flooring for the concession stand. And the The low base bid was from Womack, Lewis and Smith in the amount of $2,241,000. I would like to add the alternatives, which brings that bid total to $2,389,500. The Womack, Lewis and Smith, again, the low bidder, their base bid and the four alternatives bid was still lower than our second place base bid. Our bids ranged with this from up to $2.7 million. And with all this, this is a lot of work that was accumulated. I'd like to thank the committee that chose Lowson Associates. I'd like to thank the committee also that helped in designing the building that was approved by City Council. And anyway, my recommendation is for our local company from Bartow County, for the City of Cartersville, from Womack, Lewis and Smith, in the amount of $2,389,500.
Thank you, Greg. And again, this sounds like a quick discussion, but a lot of hours have gone into putting together the design team, the committee, and City Council's worked on it. It's been a goal for a long time. Citizens voted for the bond. Everyone's involved.
It is, and the groups I've thanked numerous times earlier, but I would like to thank them again, is our other city departments, specifically Cartersville Public Works, Cartersville Water Department, Cartersville Electric System. Without those departments working with us, we would be spending a lot more of the bond money, paying outside contractors. They've really stepped up. If you've noticed, our buildings at Dellinger Park, they have the 3 buildings have been torn down. We're preparing for this construction to start.
Any questions of Mr. Anderson?
Again, I encourage council to take a look at the sheet that's on the screen, and it's on page 73 and 74 of this packet I've got. It's electronic. I don't know what it is in paper copy, but that shows the relative plus and minuses, where we pulled money to get the money for the overage, and then it kind of gives you a tally plus or minus all the way out in the right hand column. It'll show you where relative items are under, or where we've deducted from. Those are the ones in the parens, and then the one that have the additions, and it all zeroes out, and there is enough money if we do it this way. But again, just to update council, this is our current thinking. If you would like to change any of this, let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Grove. Any more discussion? I think this is something we're all going to be very proud of, Greg, and thanks for all the hard work.
When does it start? When is the first building going to start?
Well, it'll take them a couple of 3 weeks to get their bonds in. After that, after we give them a notice to proceed, after the contract has been signed, after that, they have 15 days to be on site and starting. Okay. I would say sometime just after July 4th. And they're in the package you saw, they estimate their time is 330 days, so approximately 11 months to complete the project.
Thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve the bid.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations, Greg.
Thank you.
Next up is the geotechnical services for the Parks and Recreation.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, with our construction going on, part of our responsibility is to hire a geotechnical consultant. I solicited RFPs for this, received 2 back, and I am recommending the low proposal from GeoHydro out of Kennesaw in the amount of $14,845. Of course, this is an estimate, and all that depends on a lot of different things, on the number of tests they'll have to do, the time period of the construction, the weather, and I would like to recommend that go with GeoHydro in the amount not to exceed $16,000.
I appreciate you making that a part of your motion, if you so desire not to exceed 16,000. Any questions of Mr. Anderson?
Motion to approve?
Thank you. With the not to exceed,
16,000.
Very detailed tonight. Yes.
yeah, you better be. David's looking at me. Yes, sir.
I do have one thing, I need to go back to the,
Excuse me,
to the construction.
Excuse me,
I'm
though,
sorry.
I need to get a vote on this.
I'm
All in
sorry.
favor?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
The construction bid, I need to make the recommendation that this is contingent on the approval of the contract by the city manager and the city attorney for the contract on the
So
construction.
we'd have to bring the agreement back in here and get you to approve it separately, because you're essentially approving what's in there.
Need to amend that motion to include that language.
Okay. Okay.
Are you talking about the geohydro?
No, I'm talking about the construction, Womack and Lewis that I
Just one
had.
minute.
Yes, and authorize the mayor to sign.
We've already voted on geohydro. Can we go back and amend?
Absolutely.
Okay, council, we need to go back and amend, if you so desire, the park and recreation, new recreation buildings, page 57 through 74. It needs to be subject to council and city manager approval.
The actual contract.
The actual
Authorize the mayor
contract.
to sign it.
And authorize the mayor to sign.
And
yes.
authorize the mayor to sign. If anyone would like to make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
As an amendment to the original motion.
Exactly.
Catherine, as the amendment
What he said.
to the original motion. Is that also what you'd like to say?
That works.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you. Are we good? Mr. Archer? Yeah.
I apologize for that. I
No, that's okay.
had that in the
All
language and
right,
I
you saved us more.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay. So we have a vote on the geotechnical services on now to Park Place Systems, Greg.
Yes, Sir Mayor. We took proposals for for the replacement of three play systems, two systems inside Dellinger Park. Both of these systems are over, actually, it was one of the first things I did when I became director. So around 1996 was when these were installed, and they are in dire need of being replaced. We have decking that is being rusted out. But this is part of the bond also. Our three bids, the low bid came in from Dominican Republic, which is for game time equipment, in the amount of $185,825. That's for 3 play systems and 12 spring riders in the installation of those systems. And you'll see this is a picture of our the large one that will go back next to the football field. It's a very nice system. This is a smaller one that will go down to the shelters. And then the next one will be replaced the one at the Cartersville Sports Complex. And I recommend the low bid, and also recommend the mayor sign the contract when the bonds come in from Dominica Recreation Products.
Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Greg, so what do you do with those, the old ones? Do they scrap them?
Yeah, we will be tearing those down, and they will be, I guess we'll just be selling the scrap metal. We cannot use them again because they are damaged.
No. I know it's like other, never mind, scratch my comment I was about to make.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaking of surplus equipment, Mr. Reinhardt?
Honorable Mayor, Pro Tem, and Council, I bring before you a list of equipment and vehicles that I would like to have declared as being surplus. These range from several trucks and vehicles to some fire equipment. I will note that I did give you an amended list which included two additional vehicles. On your list, we have one vehicle that I would like to have declared surplus. Well, all of it will be declared surplus, but one of the vehicles to be used by the fire for training purposes. I believe they mentioned something about helping to help the firefighters extradite folks from various vehicles. After these items are declared surplus, they will be advertised on our GovDeals website and sold to the highest bidder. I recommend approval for this list to be declared as surplus.
You've heard the recommendations. Do you have any questions?
I have a question.
Do we have a question? Yes, sir.
You've got quite a herd here of these guys going out to Cartersville. I'd like to know, once you bring in a new item, who is it assigned to? An individual, a department, motor pool? Do we have, sir?
It depends.
It depends.
Yeah.
The way the GovDeal website works is anybody can go on and register. We will try to assign a minimum value that we would like to at least get out of each item. Those items will either sell for that minimum price, or they will go up in price depending on what the bidders bid on.
But he was asking the question relative to the new stuff, weren't you?
Right, the life of the new stuff.
Well, it varies. Now, in particular, with the vehicles in the police department, those are assigned to individuals. We had them where they kind of run around the clock and they weren't really assigned to folks. So we started a program years back that gave them individual vehicles, and they do take care of them. They're more accountable to it. But the other ones will be, in general, assigned to departments, and then there are departmental policies that determine whether or not they go home at night or stay at the location.
Who does the corrective maintenance on?
At the garage.
Our garage?
Yeah.
And I have actually talked to our garage regarding all these vehicles, and they assure me that a lot of them have been used to their extent, and they do need to get out of our fleet.
You got one 2004 on it. That's good. Out at my house, that'd be a brand new car.
Our garage doesn't deem it as being a new vehicle, though.
Somebody could probably get a heck of a deal on that, you know?
Yeah. Need transmission. That might be hard to find.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt. There's no other questions. Do I have a motion to declare this surplus?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That brings to a close our regular agenda items. I would ask that you consider adding 3 items to the agenda, and it's a resolution, a lien release, and the mayor has asked that we add an appointment. Do I have a motion to that effect?
You have a motion to that effect?
Thank you. Second?
Yes.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Tom, you have a resolution for us?
Yes, ma'am. Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and Council, I bring before you tonight an official intent resolution. What this will do is we are starting to spend some of the funds that will be included in the bond projects for the water and sewer fund. We would like to go ahead and make sure that those funds that we are now spending will be recouped when those bonds are closed, and this resolution will do just that, what we're asking for. I recommend your approval for the official intent resolution.
Thank you. Do I have a motion or questions?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Mr. Menino?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. The property at 95 Point North Drive was part of our first-time home buyers program. They have fulfilled their obligation. They're looking to sell the property, and there's a closing coming up within the next 2 weeks. With that, we weren't able to get the paperwork completed. However, looking at the previous documents, we did conclude that they did meet those, fulfill their obligation under that agreement that went with the program. With that, we would like to request that the council authorize the mayor to sign the paperwork to release the lien once the city attorney's office has reviewed that documentation. Again, we don't have the paperwork yet. We're requesting this in advance so we don't have to wait the 2 weeks so they can move forward with their closing on this home.
So after reviewed by council, the mayor signs the lien to release it. So,
Reviewed by
any-
city attorney.
After review. Any questions?
Motion to approve?
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Randy. Mayor Matt Santini would like for me to bring this forward tonight. With the absence in the JDA, Joint Development Authority, we'd like to propose that Ms. Beth Tilley be appointed to the JDA. So I put that before the City Council tonight. Any discussion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. She'll do a great job. Anything else to come before City Council tonight? Yes, sir. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. This next, huh? Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I didn't know what I said, but okay. Anyway, I apologize for what I said.
Whatever you said, I appreciate it.
Well, next week, we have our fishing tournaments at Dellinger Park. Monday, starting at 7 a.m., we have the youth tournament, goes from 7 to 12 noon. That's for ages 15 and under. And then Friday, we have our senior tournament. That's for age 50 and over. Starting at the same time. I'd like to invite everybody to come on out. DNR has again stocked our lake this past fall, and we've got some nice catfish in there ready to be taken home and cooked. Thank you.
Good, good. And our farmers market continues every Wednesday evening and Saturday morning, and the produce ought to start rolling in pretty soon if it isn't already, so don't forget that Wednesday and Saturday. Also tonight, our thoughts are with the Steve Taylor family. They've had a loss in their family, and of course he's our sole county commissioner, and so prayers and thoughts are with the commissioner and his extended family. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Not debatable.
Not debatable.
Thank you.